Welcome to this one-to-one. I'm delighted to say my special guest is Charlie Adam, formerly of Dundee. Many a player will tell you after they hang up the boots, they should have played on longer. Is that the biggest thought going through your mind, Charlie?
Well, listen, I have a problem at the moment, what to do. I'll wait and see what the next couple of weeks bring. I'll have a holiday with my family, kids, and we'll make a decision on where I go from there. But I am looking forward to the future. Albeit my end goal is coaching, but I would love to keep playing if that's possible.
Yeah, and over and above that, if you were writing a script, even for yourself, it doesn't get any better than playing for your boyhood heroes, your boyhood club, the team you supported as a boy. It may not have ended the way you wanted, but there were a number of highlights in that last season.
I looked at it as a positive, Peter. It was a great 2 years. I had to make that personal decision, losing, because of the illness to my mum, that made me make that decision. And I seen it as a positive that, I got an opportunity to play for my club, the boyhood club that I never thought I would. And I'm eternally grateful to James and people that made it happen. And it's a shame that sometimes it comes to an end, and it has come to an end. Disappointed in how it come to an end, and that's football at times. But I look back with great memories to go there and get promoted from the Championship, and to go and stay and play in the Premier League at Rangers and Celtic, and scoring in the big games as well, the derby and things like that was brilliant for me.
Disappointment, obviously, the way it ends. Do you think you could have had one more year at Dundee to try and get them out of the Championship?
I felt yes. I was told that there was going to be a contract offer there made that they wanted to keep me, and then things changed at the end of the season, which is understandable. I know that, but it is difficult the way it ended. But they've moved on, and I'll move on. I'll never stop supporting the club, but it's we'll see where it goes and what it takes. But it was a great 2 years, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, listen, I've known you such a long time. Everybody can look back at the start when you kicked off as a youngster at Rangers. Seems like only yesterday, we're all getting on, but at that point there was a fresh-faced kid with a full head of hair.
Yeah.
And I remember the pictures of your dad sitting proudly beside you.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I was part of that Blue Heaven programme that was propelled a few of the lads in there, and I remember it as, like you say, as yesterday, signing up in the manager's office at Ibrox, going up the marble stairs. And not many people get that opportunity to do that. And listen, looking back now, I was very fortunate enough to start at the top. I believe that Rangers is one of the biggest clubs in Europe, probably one of the biggest clubs in the world. And I've started there, started my career. But I had a great ground in there under the coaching staff, and I built, a good career at playing 80, 90 games there. And it was a great career, great club to be part of, and love going back and sampling the atmosphere when I can.
Yeah, Charlie Adam wouldn't have been the player he was without your dad, though, eh?
Oh no, definitely not. I owe him a lot. All the hard work, not just my dad, but when it's within something like this, there's a lot of people that you've got to mention, because my mum and dad never drove, so I needed a lot of help to get from Dundee to Glasgow on a regular basis. I was getting trains late at night. My granddad, obviously my dad's dad, was a big influence, and he was driving, so he would take me, and the old scout at Rangers would take me up as well. So a lot of people, was a lot of hard work put into getting me there every week, and it was just the icing on the cake when they offered me a contract, and that was just a brilliant day and a brilliant moment for me, and that's where my journey started, really.
Yeah. Was there any player you were in awe of that you used to look at in those dressing rooms and think, oh, one day I'd love to be like him, or I love watching him in that Rangers jersey?
Well, we all looked up to Barry Ferguson. He was the player, he was the leader, he was the captain. He was a young player coming through that played, all the games, won cups, won trophies, but he played with the top players that Rangers were having at that time in previous years under Dick Advocaat and things like that. So you always looked up to Barry as a young player, and for me going there, I was always one that wanted to try and be different. I was always trying to be around the first team, even at a young age. I was in helping Jimmy with the kit, only because I wanted to be in around the first team dressing room to see what they were doing, preparing for the games, how the senior players were looking after themselves, and that was the thing that I used to go. I used to go and sit in the gym and watch them train, and and the coaches would be, would come in and tell us to get out because they want, we shouldn't be in there. But it was just, I love watching what the first team players were doing, and it definitely helped me, watching them and how they trained, and it was a great eye opener for me, and especially at Murray Park where it was a brilliant facility.
Did the loans help you?
The loans were massive. My first loan was up at Ross County, only lasted 6 months, but two stalwarts of the game, and Alex Smith and Jimmy Bowen, who everybody knows them. They took me up there, and I was just young. I think I was 17, 18 at the time, and I thought moving from Dundee to Glasgow was a long way away. But to go up to Ross County was brilliant. I loved it every minute. And then you had senior players in that dressing room: Jim Laughlin, Tony Bullock. I was living with Jamie McConaughey for a bit. Don Cowie was playing in that team, who's now assistant manager. So there was good players in there, and I learned a lot. Scored a couple of goals, but obviously I got injured, the groin problem. So I went back to Rangers for the end of the season and just played there, and that was great. And then Gus and Andy took me to St Mirren, and I think that's where my career sort of propelled. Going to St Mirren and getting promoted there, winning the Bells Cup, and when you get a taste of first team football, you want more. And I was lucky enough to play in that team that got promoted.
What did the gaffer say to you when you're eventually, look, I'm putting you out on loan to St Mirren? What was your thought process? You think, yep, this is another learning curve?
I was disappointed because I wanted to be at Rangers. I wanted to feel that I was good enough to be playing in that Rangers midfield. But you have to go out and loan and get experience, and I done that. But I went out there, and I always say to the younger players now that was the way I thought about it, is if you go out and loan, you need to be the best player, and you need to try and show why you're at Rangers, not just go and be happy and going on loan and thinking it's all right. You need to go there and show why you're at a big club, and that's what I done. I tried to be the best player at St Mirren. And we managed to get promoted, which was great for me. And coming back to Rangers after that, everything had changed. Paul Guen was in the door, and my Rangers career then changed after Paul Guen came in.
Yeah, in what way?
Well, he gave me a chance. He played me regular. I remember going to pre-season, and the one thing in pre-season, I always growing up, you always used to do pre-season with the first team because the younger players, the ones that they thought might have had a chance would do a wee bit of pre-season with the first team. And I always looked, right, who's the fittest in the first team? I say, right, Fernando was the fittest player. So I thought, right, if I could chase him and get anywhere near him, I never really any time, it was just a mental thing for me that if I chased him and I was getting any close to him, then I would be fit enough for the season. And that's how I've done it every season. And I still do it now, still try and chase the younger players, but they're younger and they're fitter now, but that's how I've done it. And Paul Guen came in, gave me an opportunity, and then that first day of the season at Motherwell, I got man of the match, and my Rangers career went from there. Got a couple of opportunities and started playing regular.
Yeah, who did you enjoy playing with on that side?
Well, there was a lot of good players coming through, and I was at the back end of Ronald de Boer, and obviously Fergie, Caniggia was there as well.
You're saying it as if it's the norm.
Yeah,
Caniggia,
Michael Moles. So I'd seen all Arthur Newman and people like that. They were all there, played World Cups, and the top players, but they were great guys. But Paul obviously come in, and it didn't last long. Obviously had the big fallout with Barry, and it was difficult then. But then Walter came in, and then let's say played his first game against Dundee United. I think we won 5-0, and I scored a goal for about 35-40 yards, and that was another great time to learn from somebody like Walter.
Yeah, was that the period where you felt as if slowly but surely now I'm starting to cement my place as a Rangers player? Yeah,
that was it. Under as a Paul, I played a lot more, but then when Walter came in, I felt like I was a first team player. I got the opportunities, and like any young player, you want to play every week, but I never got that opportunity to play every week.
Why not?
Well, like we've spoke about it many times, I think when you're a young player coming through, it's very difficult that they bought Kevin Thompson for a couple of £1 million. Pedro Mendes was there, Hamdani came in, Fergie was back, Lee McCulloch was playing centre midfield. So I'd always play on the left hand side, which I didn't mind. Playing in the Rangers jersey was brilliant. And it is a joke when I see Durante and Coisty and people like that now. It's like I used to just get wheeled out for the big games: Celtic, Aberdeen away, Hearts and Hibs away. But Walter had your trust, and that's what you knew that I could do. Give him a balance on that left hand side. He could trust me in the games, but I wanted to play regular. I wanted to play at home, Inverness, and things like that. But you know, as your career gets on, you've still got respect of what it was, and it was a wonderful time to play 90 games for Rangers or close to it. Was a fabulous achievement, and you know, do I have any regrets going to Rangers? Absolutely not. Loved it, and you know, I still say now it's a big club, and we say when I go back there now, I still get a good welcome, and it's a great place to go and watch football.
Did you have a good relationship with Walter? Did you ever feel the need to? Did you chap his door and say, "Look, Gaffer, I really think I should be playing more"? No. No, I never really went and chapped his door. I played, and then I'd come out for 2 or 3 weeks and then go back and be a young player. You respected that, but what a guy, what a human being he was. Just a quick story on him is that, and a lot of people have heard that when we beat Celtic at home, and I think we were winning quite easy, and we were passing the ball around, and it got to me, and I'd done a no-look pass, and I thought I was the big bollocks in that. I thought, I played well, come in after the game, brilliant. Lads are talking about night out and that. I said, after an all for him, it's not a good idea. So everything's calmed down, and Walter comes in and he follows the tactics board, and he says, you think you are? And I says, what do you mean? He said, disrespecting your opponent. Never ever disrespect your opponent, because it'll come back to bite you. And he hammered me that day, and that's when I just knew that the standard of the football club was just incredible. And from that day, just the one thing about respecting your opponent is, you know, that I think it's massive. Win or lose, appreciate what you've got, shake hands, move on. And I think Walter was as good as anybody at that. And I took a lot from him, from his man management, but also him as a person, as a human being. Was there a particular highlight, one that sticks in your mind from Rangers that you thoroughly enjoyed?
I think that European run, scoring the goals. I've scored a good volley against Livorno in the Europa League, in the UEFA Cup. I had a lot of good memories at Rangers. Yeah. When you sit back, like you say now, when you're a wee bit older and you appreciate it a little bit more, I had a lot of great memories at Rangers, and like I said, never change it. I started at, like I said, one of the top clubs, and you know, I was treated really well, and you know, it was a real honour to play there. How
did the move to Blackpool come about?
Well, I'd obviously been there on loan, so Walter had then shipped me back out on loan to Blackpool for 6 months. Tony Parker took me the end of one of the seasons. It was like the January to the summer, and out of the blue, I got told I was going on loan, and that was the only time that really broke my heart. I knew my Rangers career was finished. And I sat in Murray Park and I cried my eyes out, phoned my mum and dad and said, listen, I'm going to Blackpool. I'm going to go on loan for 6 months, and I generally broke down in tears, crying, thinking, where do I go from here? But after a couple of days, I realised that, you know, it was a good thing. You know, not everybody can make it Rangers and play for the next 10 years, so you have to find a way in a career. You either sulk or you have to get on with it, and I managed to, after a couple of days, get on with it, and went down to Blackpool. They were in the relegation battle, and I went in there, loved it, got sent off my first game, so I made a good impact. And I ended up scoring the winner in a derby match against Preston, which is a big rivalry. And ever since that day, they were desperate for me to sign, and then I eventually signed for £500,000 in the summer. Yeah.
Did you notice the difference? You mentioned there about the standards that Walter was talking about. Did you notice the difference in the quality of player you were playing with and the level you were playing at?
Yeah, listen, Rangers, the standard of player at Rangers at that time was good. But back before, when I was going to Blackpool, and the previous owners on how it would be, was that basically we were a team of rejects that went together, that, you know, got battered from pillar to post, out of contract, taking anybody that wanted them. Blackpool would, if you've not been on loan at Blackpool, then there's something wrong. That's honestly, that's the mantle in English football. Everybody just got shipped to Blackpool on loan, and Ollie obviously come in, wanted to change the way that the mindset of what was happening. No one of proper relegation, because we had a good side at that time. And then he brought me in, and I was sort of the main focus in the team, with a lot of good players around me as well, and that helped.
Who did you have?
So I had, at that time, people know, I had Stephen Craney, David Vaughan, Keith Southern was us three in midfield. Rob Edwards, now the Watford manager. Ian Evatt is now the Bolton manager. Trying to think who else. Matt Phillips, who obviously played for Scotland, he came on loan. Barry Bannon came on loan as well. Dobby was in as well. So there was a lot of Scottish players that come in.
Yeah.
And
good dressing room.
Great dressing room. Good
banter.
Oh, unbelievable stories that you couldn't tell. But the big thing for us, Peter, is that we used to have a Sunday clubber. So every Sunday we used to meet up in the pub in Lytham, and we'd watch the games and have a few beers, and there'd be probably 10 of us every week watching it and getting involved, and it was just brilliant. And Ollie loved it, and it got a team spirit together, and a lot of lads lived local, which helped. So that became a good team spirit. And
were you married then?
No, I was not married. No, I was just single. But I was not long after I'd signed for Blackpool, I met my missus now, and like everything calmed down. But I still managed to get the odd Sunday.
Yeah. What about the gaffer?
Brilliant. He'd obviously had a couple of bad management jobs. He left Plymouth. He went to Leicester, and he was sort of, like you say, on the scrap heap, like a lot of the players were.
Yeah.
And
I found him to be a really infectious character.
Brilliant, really. Jekyll and Hyde. 1 minute he could be as high as a kite, low as a snake's belly the next day. But he, I don't know how he did it, but him and Kim, his wife, were unbelievable. I think his children were deaf.
Yeah.
And he obviously had a lot of issues with that. And then when he came up to Blackpool, it was very difficult for him to settle because the kids couldn't find a school. And eventually he found a school and he got settled. But he'd been out the game for a little bit, and he went watching Swansea, and Roberto Martinez took a lot from him, said, this is the way I want to play. He had a way of playing. He said...
What was Ian Holloway's way of playing?
His way was... So how we would play is we'd want to play from the back if we can, but a lot of it would be like, say, for instance, we're building up the right-hand side. The right-hand side midfielder, winger, would actually be able to play inside the pitch, but the furthest winger on the left-hand side would have to stay high and long and not come in the pitch. He'd have to go and hug the touchline. So basically we'd be doing a lot of diagonals and switches of play, which for me was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? So basically everybody used to try and get me on the ball, and we'd just switch of play, and it worked because we had great fullbacks that could bomb on, and Neil Early, Baptiste and Craney down one side. So we were different, and he just wanted to play the right way. He had a philosophy and a plan, and he had a good structure about us.
And was there a moment then where you thought, okay, I was disappointed at Rangers, but suddenly I'm starting to make a name for myself?
Yeah, because I started to score goals, and I started to be the main player, really, and
the position you wanted.
Yeah, in the position in midfield, central midfield.
Yeah.
And one day I got the armband. He gave me the armband one night, and he said to me, "That's you. You're going to be the captain now." And I grew in that personality. That's the personality I have, and he gave me that onus and that responsibility, and I loved it. And just from then, and my career just propelled to where it did.
Tell me one mad night, the gaffer. Oh. He obviously he's got so many funny things that he's done.
There's one story, Christmas Day. So we played Boxing Day in England, and so we had Christmas Day off. So the lads were buzzing, which we never thought we would get, and we got Christmas Day off. So he said, like, we're playing Derby, meet at the hotel. So Derby are playing, got Savage and people like that playing for him, and so we sat having pre-match, and he just went and he said, right, in that room there's 11 teddy bears. Your name's underneath the teddy bear. If you've got a teddy bear, pick it up, take it to the stadium with you, and don't lose it. If your name's like under there, you're playing. If you're no, the rest is a sub. So all the lads were in scrambling around, seeing what was happening. So it was set up, 4-3-3, all these teddy bears. Obviously I was playing in that, and we went to Derby and we won 2-0, and it was just things like that you would just know. But the thing for all these, we'd come in and train. Say we're starting at 10:30, so we'd go and we'd meet where we had the Blackpool. The training ground wasn't the best, but we had darts and all that. So the lads would play darts, and he'd come in, and all of a sudden he'd go on a rant. So he'd sit down 10:30, and he'd start talking about the news the night before or what is going on in the world, and he'd discuss it for the next hour and a half. And it's 12 o'clock, and we've not even trained yet. But the lads just loved it, and he was infectious and just loved being in the training ground. He'd do all these different tactical shapes and all that, and he just got the best at us, and lucky for us, we managed to get promoted.
Yeah. What was your favourite game?
the Wembly Cup final.
Yeah.
Yeah, the playoff game was the best game. 3-2 to go and get promoted, because we were favourites for relegation, and we were there about. So then we went, and there was about 10 or 12 games to go at the end of the season. I think we won 11 and drawn 1 at the end of the season. And by that time, we were getting promoted, and we were on a good bonus at that time. It was 5 million at the time, which was a lot of money.
Wow.
So our lads were talking about buying, like, every week after a game, lads were talking about, right, if we get this promotion bonus, we're going to buy like Ferraris and Bentleys and all that, and buy nice watches, and we're going to have a good holiday and all that. But it kept us going every week, and the buzz, and the next one. And we went to Scunthorpe and we won 4-2 that day, and that probably just propelled us into it. Knowing that we were going to get into the Championship, to the playoff games, and we were brilliant, and we thoroughly deserved to get up.
Yeah, what was the final like, walking out there?
It was brilliant because we were the underdogs. We played Cardiff, they had a good side. McNaughton was in there, Burke was in there, McCormack, McPhail, Whittingham, Chopra, Marshall was in goals. So they had a good side, and we'd beat them a couple of times in the season. So we knew that we would. It was between Leicester and Cardiff at the time, and we'd said we'd rather play Cardiff than play Leicester, because they were a good side. Leicester, they'd Drinkwater and people like that.
Yeah. We
got Cardiff, and we knew that we would beat them. We just had a good team that was set up right, and fortunate for us on the day, we produced an unbelievable performance that got us there.
Yeah, and getting into that top flight,
it was dreams, Peter. I was, you've known me a long time, quite humble person. It's enjoy, these big moments, and to go to Anfield and to win a game, to beat Liverpool in the Premier League back to back, home and away, was incredible. And then nearly beating Man United. We were 2-0 up, lost 3-2. And then at that time, that was just when Mancini had bought, David Silva, Balotelli, Gareth Barry, and all. Man City were starting to spend the big money.
You're in the middle of the park. I mean, what was it like? Was there anybody that was giving you, and you were giving it back? Was there somebody you absolutely loved playing against? And tell me if there was somebody that you thought, my God Almighty, I think I'm at a level, but this boy's giving me the runaround.
Well, people like Yaya Toure and that, who, strong, quick, just at times couldn't get near them. David Silva, for me, I played in his first game against Man City. The first game, I think, was Blackpool against Man City at Blackpool, and he bent a ball around me into the bottom corner, and you could see then he just terrific talent, and unbelievable career at Man City. But all the top players were the top players. You could see why. At that time, had Essien, you had Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, Giggs, Fabregas, who I thought was a top player.
Yeah.
If you gave him time and space. Young Aaron Ramsey was coming through at that time at Arsenal. Nasri was unbelievable. So it was, the Premier League was just incredible. But I managed to score, I think it was about 13, 14 goals in the Premier League that season. And eventually got nominated for Player of the Year. So that year was myself, Gareth Bale, who won it, and a lot of top players. So sitting back now talking about to actually get a nomination for a Player of the Year in English Premier League was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I've just got to never gotten Team of the Year, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So who makes the votes?
Who made that decision?
Yeah.
And when you beat Liverpool home and away,
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been special, because I presume Gerrard's strutting his stuff in the middle of the park. I mean, he's like a god for everybody down south. How did you do it? Was there a specific Holloway plan?
No, just go and play your own game.
Yeah.
That's how we went to Anfield. Just go and play your game and see what happens. We'll be able to cause them problems, and we did that day. And like I say, they had top players, top international players at that time. And I was in. Listen, a lot of the time when you play against these players, you're in awe. And I was. Stevie, I think, is somebody that I hold in high regard, and lucky to play against him, but also to be able to keep in contact with him and speak to him, every now and then. It's brilliant, because he played at the top. He's one of the top players ever to come through in England, and another top guy to actually play with and play against.
Do you think those performances, especially at Anfield, maybe stuck in the mind of Liverpool when they eventually make a move for you?
Possibly. I don't know. I don't know what reason there was. I think I think at the time when how Liverpool were doing it was a lot of statistics.
Moneyball?
I don't know. I don't understand how it was, but my stats were very good in terms of creating chances and things like that, and scoring goals. And so the move obviously came, and I couldn't wait to get in the door.
Yeah, I think I was working a night for BT. You were playing a European game. It was just great to see you walking out. There's so many Scots have done it, but to see you and knowing you from that journey, it was magnificent. Did you feel as if you squandered the chance, or did you feel as if you enjoyed what you did there in that year?
Yeah, listen, I won the Carling Cup. Played 38 games in the whole season. I loved every minute of it. I was lucky, coming back into Anfield, playing at Liverpool. As I talk about big clubs, huge club. It's keep saying I'm privileged to play for one of the big clubs. It was a real honour to play there. And listen, I done probably as well as you could in the first season at a big club. Going back there, the expectation. We never done really well in the league. We struggled. I think we finished 8th, but we got to the cup final in the Carling Cup. Got FA Cup final. I missed it through injury, and which was disappointing. But I think if the Liverpool thing was, I probably should have waited a little bit longer. I think I jumped the gun too quick. But sometimes in your career, you got to make a decision on what you think's best. And when Brendan came in, obviously Kenny had gone away, and Brendan came in. He wanted to bring in his own players and different types, and he said it would be difficult to get a game, and obviously they wanted to sell me, and I ended up going to Stoke.
Yeah, I think that was the period where you really blossomed. I mean, there wasn't a week going by without someone talking about you strutting your stuff for Stoke, and they were. I mean, no disrespect to Stoke, they weren't one of those high-profile clubs where you think they're going to be high-flying, but boy, you're a good side.
Yeah, no, we had a good side. We had good players. We evolved every season. My first season was difficult. Tony Pulis was the manager, obviously brought me in. It was difficult. That was the first year I lost my dad at the Christmas time, and found it hard.
Did that derail you?
No, because I felt I was okay off the pitch, but he wanted to get rid of me in the January window, which was a huge blow.
Tony Pulis?
Yeah, because obviously I had played for Liverpool against Hearts up at Tynecastle in the Europa League, so you can't play for 3 clubs in one season. I'd already played for Stoke in the season, so come January, I'd lost my dad in December, and I missed the game against Tottenham, and then I was in the next week, and I never really played. And come January, he said, it's not really worked out for both parties. Well, at the end of the day, I didn't think I think it was all right, because at the end of the day, situation at family had just happened, and he just said, listen, it's not worked out, get your agent to come and see me or call me, and we'll get something sorted. So I was quite taken back by that, but lucky for me, couldn't go anywhere else, so I had to stay there, and I never played from January to April, and they were in the relegation battle, and I remember it clearly. He told me I was playing against QPR away, and I was playing on the right wing, and we ended up winning the game 2-0. And that basically helped us. We ended up winning a couple of games. We got safe, and seen the season out. Got to the summer, and then obviously change happened, and then Mark Hughes come in, and I ended up staying there, and I loved every minute of that as well.
Yeah, that December, you lose your dad to the April. That's a heck of a lot to take on board. Psychologically, the manner of your dad's death, and then of course you having to deal with the fact you're not part of the plans. How the hell did you do it?
Well, at that time I had a good physio in Dave Watson, who was Stoke at the time, and he helped me see people that would help me get through it. And it never really hit me until probably a year later. I just felt everything was all right, and it wasn't probably till a year later, the first anniversary, and that's when it really hit me hard, and that's when I started to struggle.
I think I come down to see you at that point. I thought you were very brave in the fact that you could openly talk about it and maybe help a lot of people in the circumstances.
No, well, we done an interview, didn't we, me and Ruffy, and it hit me hard. But I felt that if I can open up and help people, that would be the brave thing to do, and try and help other people. But I was suffering inside, killed me big time.
Was there a big sense, as I always think with a lot of people who deal with a suicide, was there a sense in that you maybe were you able to see a sign, or was there a feeling of I wish I'd intervened at some point?
Well, there's actually a funny story. No funny story, but the last time I actually spoke to my dad, he had an argument with me about Sky Billa because I had changed. This is how it is. The last time I spoke to him, I can remember it now. I'm driving into Manchester City Centre. I'm driving my car. My wife's actually driving. I'm in the passenger seat, and he comes on Sunday, which is normally he likes to go to the pub on a Sunday, and he phones up and says, "Oh, what's this Sky bill? It's not been paid and that." And I says, "Oh, I've changed my bank, but I've not notified the bank to change it over, blah, blah." He said, "Well, make sure you get it sorted." And he hung the phone up on me. And that was the last time I ever spoke to him.
Oh my God.
And so I think, I see it as a funny side of the story that was just my dad, and that was a relationship we had. He hung the phone up and blah, blah. But no, like I said, it hit me hard and it was hard to take. But there was no signs for me because I never... didn't realise what was going on, and it was a huge blow to the family, and still is now. But learning to cope with it now.
Yeah, and the playing side of things, what was it about Mark Hughes that suddenly brought out the best in Charlie Adam?
Just a man manager, knew what was right for everybody, knew how to look after people in the right way, treated people with respect, treated them like human beings, and but also he had good staff with him as well. Mark Bowen, Eddie Nitzvicki, Damien Roden, who are a lot of his staff that come from Man City and Blackburn with him. Yeah. And you could see that he played at the top, but also managed at the top. His personality, his persona, how he looked after people, and as a player, I see it now. Some managers, they won't even tell you if you're not playing, but he'll pull you in every Saturday morning before the team's announced, before pre-match. He'll say, "We're going with this. You're going on the bench today." Or you're going to be playing, and I think you get respect as a manager more from your players from that. And
I thought you had a right good team.
He had a very good team with some good players over the years. Built a good side, and Arnautovic, Shaqiri will get there, but he ended up bringing in Bojan from Barcelona. Glenn Whelan was a huge player for us. Ryan Shawcross. So we eventually we ended up bringing in Crouch, and Crouch was already there. Glenn Johnson. So we ended up building a good squad, and we finished 9th 3 years in a row. So it's a huge achievement. And
was that the best football of your career?
In terms of being in the Premier League, it was great for a number of longevity. But I think the best time in my career was Blackpool because, and it sounds selfish, but I was probably the main player, and everything was coming through me, and I felt that I had a responsibility in the team to try and drag the team if they were losing, which I had at Blackpool, at Stoke, and other clubs as well. But I think it was more onus on me that people would look to me, that look to you, like if we are struggling, right, going in, what can you do? And I've thrived on that over my whole career, and that's what I was trying to do. Even when at Dundee in the last couple of years, when we are struggling, it's can you go and pull a rabbit at the hat, and hopefully you can do that. And I just listen. There's no real any point in my career I thought I've not enjoyed this. I've had a wonderful time, and that Stoke time was magnificent.
Yeah, my favourite is the lob. I mean, the funny thing is, people in England would probably rave about you, lobbing one of Europe's top goalkeepers at the time, and he still is, Courtois. But people in England are probably looking, going, "Oh, that is amazing." Charlie Adam has just, the buzz around English football at the time I can remember was, you've got to see what Charlie Adam has just done to Courtois tonight on Match of the Day. They would all have been raving about it. Up here, we're thinking, there's Charlie done another one of those lobs. It's true Scottish psychology. Charlie does that every week up here,
But it was just, I do my homework. I look at goalkeepers, I look to see, because I know that I can pass it long and I could shoot long. So I did my homework week in, week out, and I could see, in certain games, and in a lot of games, because Chelsea played so high line, Courtois was always on like his 18-yard box, or probably further out, just trying to patrol any long ball and that. And Mourinho obviously was the manager at the time, and I thought, I'm just going to have this, and I had it, and lucky enough for me, it went in, and it was a great moment. And I still remember it now, doing interviews and that, and Josie came up to me after the game and saying, "Well done, what a strike." He says, the top players would only dream of that, your Messis and Ronaldos. So when somebody like that's saying things like that, it's incredible to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Who was the best player you played against?
I was lucky enough to play in the generation of different teams. Played in the Barcelona against that Barcelona team with Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, Ronaldinho, Messi, Henry. They were the ones when at Rangers you say they top players. But listen, Gerrard for me is somebody that I look up to. I think he's a wonderful player. And as I say, was one of the best players ever to play football in terms of in the world. But in that Premier League era, they were phenomenal at times. Lucky enough to play against De Bruyne, Silva, Fabregas I mentioned. But I always struggled against Scott Parker.
Yeah?
Yeah, he
Why?
was just because of how his energy. He was always in your face, never gave you a minute on the ball, was always in about you, was a good player, Scott Parker, but very underrated. We went through that spell, remember we got in the England squad a lot and that.
Yeah.
But people say...
Is it Tottenham and Fulham?
Yeah, so I always say to somebody like him who people think, Scott Parker and that, I said, but I never ever played well against him. He always come off the game, thought, that was a tough afternoon. Like in terms of never felt I made an impact, never done really anything that I normally do in the game. He was always in your face, always aggressive against you, never gave you time on the ball. But, so I think instead of saying who was the best player, I always say he was the in terms of somebody that you wouldn't expect.
Yes.
I would say him. But the greats, the top players that I've played in England, I was lucky enough to play against them all.
And the best teammate that you thought, it's a joy to play with?
They were all different. I look at Suarez and I think, as a number 9, I think he was as good as anybody in the world. He was a top player. The way he trained, he was horrible training. Him and Carragher used to boot lumps at each other. It was brilliant to watch. But they become so competitive. But as soon as they got off the pitch, they were mates. They'd have a laugh and a joke. But it was so intense and aggressive with each other. So he was a phenomenal player. But yeah, no, listen, I met a lot of great people in the game. A lot of people that I would try. I still try and keep in contact with if I can. And that's the hardest thing about football is once you leave a club, it's very hard to keep in contact with a lot of players. So over the years, there's not too many that you keep in contact with, and that's the hardest bit about when you leave a club.
Yeah, I know you had a wee spell at Reading before eventually getting back to Dundee. Was the Dundee thing just one of those things you thought, hey, this is a great way to finish it? How did that whole thing...
So obviously I'd done a year at Reading, and at that time it was a Chinese owner at Reading, and the influx of foreign players, foreign manager, and Matt Bowen was sporting director at the time. So I'd known him from Stoke, and he said, listen, can you come down and give me a hand? Contract for a year, play, get involved, sort the dressing room out, try and get the lads together, because it was all divided, split personalities. But when I went in, it was a brilliant year. I loved it.
Yeah.
I still speak to some of the lads now. Great characters, they were there. So yeah, that was a good year in terms of doing something different. I was living away from home for a year in London. I was in London every afternoon, doing different things. I loved it, and so that was a little bit different. But then I was out of contract, waiting. The pandemic had been. And I was waiting for a call to see what had happened, and I was sat having dinner. We talked about it the other night actually with one of my mates, and sat in a restaurant that I go to in Blackpool, an Italian restaurant, and I got a text off James, and he said, "Do you fancy coming back? Do you fancy coming and playing?" So at the time I'm not too sure what's going to happen. I wanted to stay down in England. But as the more it came on and the pressure started to come from James and you come in and blah blah, and then obviously I found the news about my mum, then that made it move quicker, and was when I got up there and spoke to James and John, it was done quite quickly, and loved going up there, and luckily for us it was signed off with a promotion. Did
you feel when you come back did you feel I'm home, and the fans just took to you immediately?
The fans took to me immediately, yeah. But we're in the pandemic. There was no supporters at that terms at that time. But you say social media and how we were performing, and we started the season slow, and it was only in the last few games we managed to get into the playoffs. We were struggling for a bit, and then we finished second in the last day, beating Queen of the South. So I think for that 4 games, we were magnificent. 2 against Wraith and 2 against Kilmarnock, and that was thoroughly deserved. We managed to get into the Premiership, and it was great to take the boyhood club back, and we managed to get the 500 fans in for the Kilmarnock game, and that just even made a difference to the appreciation that I got. And luckily for me, this season there's been supporters in, and it's probably not finished the way I wanted to do because of I picked up a couple of injuries that I might have probably made a difference in their games as well. And do
you think if you'd been fit, you'd have saved Dundee?
Yeah. In terms of how I look at the table and where we are and the amount of points we got, it was they only managed to get 2 or 3 points without me playing. So you feel as if I was fit for their games, then I would have made an impact in the team again, and we might have stayed up, we might not have, but it was a difficult time being injured because I wanted to help the team, and obviously sadly for James he ended up losing his job, and that made things difficult as well because he was just starting to felt like we were just getting going really, and picking up a couple of results away at Tynecastle, and it was a big result for us. So, but unfortunately the club changed, and they ended up bringing another manager in.
Were you angry that he lost his job?
I was disappointed because I owed him a lot. I respect him as a manager. I like him as a person, and we still talk, at least once a week now and send the odd text. But he's a manager that I will always keep in contact with. But I class him as a friend now because of what I went through with him, and off the pitch he helped me a lot through the problems that I had with my mum, the drink driving. He was massive for me. It was a huge thing for me to have a manager to support me in that situation. A huge mistake that I made, but he said that he'll stick by me, and that was massive for me as well because I was the captain, I was the most senior player, and to let everybody down like that was not great. And to go in there and that next morning, and he said, "Listen, I will support you no matter what," was a huge relief for me.
Yeah, painful time. That obviously social media is an unforgiving place. You took a fair bit of stick about it, but is it fair to say, although people listen, some people might have a joke here and there, but it was painful for you for that slip in your own standards.
Absolutely, I let people down. I let my family down. I let myself down. I let the club down. I let football down. Because you're meant to set a standard for everybody else. Senior player, I made a mistake, hold my hands up for that, and all I can do is apologise and be there for people that need the help to support, and I've been on the course, and that's opened my eyes up to what eventuality, what could happen, what could have happened. So you have to be respectful in what the situation was. It was wrong. I had my punishment, and we have to move on, and I've done that now. And I say, it was a disappointment into the season on the playing side. Yeah,
on the playing side, football is an unforgiving place. This studio is an unforgiving place. Do you feel as if you let your teammates down in here with that dive? We were dying. No. We were dying to cane you. No, but you disappeared.
But I'm surprised that I never got a caning from you. But no, listen, I think it's one of them. What happened was I seen the lad coming towards me, and I thought he was going to stick a toe in, and I thought, I'll just buy a foul here. But I just got it completely wrong, and I made an idiot myself, and it went viral.
Yeah.
So,
did you get pelters for your old mates?
I was getting slaughters for everybody. But listen. It's if you got to laugh about it. At the end of the day, it's something that there's no in the game, and I was all for moaning about people going down too easy. So maybe that's a wee bit of karma back. But no, I tried to buy the foul. It never come. I misjudged it, and I looked stupid.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing that you didn't look stupid with: a derby goal. It must have been, just the absolute highlight for you. It's a boy's dream.
Peter is the most nervous I've been in the last 2 years.
Yeah?
Oh my God, if you've seen me in the morning of the derby, I was so nervous. Before the game, I had to put a towel over my head because of the anxiety in my stomach, the fear of losing. Because obviously I'd missed the first one through injury, the second one we drew, and this last one, the one that I played in the January, I was okay. Because but this one, because I always thought this might be my last derby, and that's why I said it. And it probably looks like it will be. And I thought, I was so nervous, and I've not been for a long, long time this nervous. And I had to take my cell away for the dressing room and go and sit in the shower area in the toilet with a towel over my head just to try and calm myself down, because it meant so much to me. Yeah? And then to go 2 goals down was just a blow. And then we managed to get back into it, and lucky for me that shot goes in.
It's a belter too, isn't it?
Yeah, no, this is a good strike. I think the goalkeeper might have thought I was going to that side, and people thought it was deflection, but when it moves, you see it move quite quickly, and it wrong foots Seagrass, and the feeling of scoring that goal was incredible, because I was getting stick. I knew it was coming, and it was brilliant. But listen, I respect Dundee United and what they've done this year. They're a good side, and Tam's done a good job.
Yeah, you scored a few goodies. The one against Hibs is up there.
It is. I think that's I'd probably say that was my best goal for Dundee in terms of what was happening, the emotion that I was probably going to leave. I didn't at that time know I was leaving. I'm quite optimistic that it wasn't going to be, but in hindsight now, I can see it why. That was the last home game, and scoring that goal in front of the fans was tough. But it was just a nice goal to score. Scoring goals is what it's all about, and if that is to be the last goal, well, it is going to be the last goal for Dundee. It was a great way to go out. Yeah, assists for me are always crucial too. What's your favourite one? Because you pulled a few out with that left peg. I think the one against Wraith Rovers for Jordan McGee, the pass in between the two centre backs was unbelievable. So yeah, that one was probably the best one. Yeah, and in Scotland, teammates, who did you enjoy playing with? I think in different clubs I've had great people. At Rangers, you McGregor's, Davis, Hutton, younger lads coming through. We had a great time together. We enjoyed it. We had a good squad there. At the national team, I got on well with everybody as well. So it was great times. I'm quite a person that likes to get on with a lot of people. There's not many people I don't like. I got on with a lot of people, and hopefully they say that about me, that I'm quite respectful and humble, that they enjoy playing in the same team as me as well. I'm going to finish with the international. What does it mean to you to know that you've got those caps for Scotland? I never thought I'd get one. The way how my journey in the youth age groups started, I didn't really get involved. I never really played in many youth games, but to get 26 caps was a huge honour, huge achievement. I'm proud to play for the national team, and it was a great time. Unfortunately, we never managed to qualify for any tournaments, but I'd probably say the one game that stood out for me was that second half against Spain at Hampden, when I come on, it was 2-0 down, I come on to bring it back to 2-2. I made a big impact in that game, like I said, against I think they were world champions or European champions at the time, and apart from a Steve McManus own goal, I think it was, we probably would have got something of the game. But no, I love going away with the national team. It was great times. The players that we had over the years, were brilliant, and the staff were amazing as well. Yeah. Best wind up of your whole career? One of the best stories would have been with the national team. Bill McCulloch, who's masseur at Chelsea. So we're staying at Mar Hall. So there was me, Snodgrass, Hutton, Bannon, Scott Brown, Nazy probably would have been there. The usual younger ones were there. So Billy would just have a laugh and a joke with everybody. So one minute you're getting a rub, and the next minute the massage oil would be everywhere in the room. So lads would just come in. Brownie would just be coming in, just spraying people with the massage oil. So this one time we said, right lads, we're going to gang up on Billy. So this is Mar Hall. There's obviously the golf courses there. So we get some, and all so we get the treatment in the treatment room. There's this tape, so we tie him up with the tape, so he can't move. So he stood there like that. So we all pick him up, and we walk through the Mar Hall, through the reception where people are waiting to check in and all that. So this is it. There's 10 of us lifting him through the car park. We take him on the golf course and we throw him in the bunker. So he's got oil all over him. We throw him in the bunker. So he tries to get. He's stuck like that. So eventually we take him off, and then we take all his clothes off him. So then he has to get. So we leave him. We all walk back, and the next minute he has to walk back through reception to his room to get showered and all that. And just they were the things we used to get up to. It was just a great laugh and going away with the national team. And Bill was a big part of it. Finally, how would you like to be remembered? A guy that was respectful, humble, and done his job to the best of his ability. Charlie, thanks for joining us. Thank you.